The question arises from the statement, natural selection. Well, in order to select, this implies something can differentiate, something can discern. This implies differentiation, discernment, choice, some sense of will. You come to a fork in the road. Do you go left or do you go right? This implies some kind of intelligence. This implies, in a sense, maybe intelligence would apply maybe an awareness of a situation, situational awareness, the ability to consider, do I go left or do I go right? Which implies will, choice, free will, which implies an intelligence, an agent of intelligence. What is it that decides that this is good for me, that is bad? Yeah, even if you take the argument that you accidentally fall into what is good, then how can you continually accidentally fall into what is beneficial for you? Surely there is a choice that I will go right as opposed to left because going right is beneficial towards me. So this implies a will, an intelligence, a choice. It's a wonderful umbrella phrase, natural selection, but it doesn't really answer the question, what selects? In the same sense that scientists or physicists use the term singularity when they talk about pre-Big Bang. Well, what is a singularity? A singularity is infinity. Scientists don't like paradoxes, and they find it hard to answer. This is why Western language is based upon Aristotelian principles of subject, object, predicate, verb, whereas Eastern philosophies are based on paradoxical logic. Darwin was brilliant, but Darwin didn't have the whole answer. He could explain how certain things happen, the mechanisms, but he couldn't explain why they happen or what has created those mechanisms to happen. In other words, he couldn't get away, or you cannot get away from, an ordering principle, something which for some reason or by some magic actually finds a pattern or comes upon a pattern and then realizes pattern is good and works upon furthering that pattern, more complex levels of patterns. Chaos and order are a symbiosis.
Here's the theory. The supply of money from the private sector has largely dried up.
Oh
so
dear.
the government has to start pouring cash into the economic machinery to get it going.
Really?
It's called fiscal stimulus, and President Obama is one of its biggest fans.
There are no quick fixes, and there are no silver bullets. That's why we put in place a comprehensive strategy designed to attack this crisis on all fronts.
Really?
The strategy to create jobs, to help responsible homeowners, to restart lending, and to grow our economy over the long term.
Most leading economies have already done a bit.
Thank you, everybody.
But there are no deep divisions over how much more is now needed.
Yeah, I like the Czech Prime
Yesterday,
Minister.
the Governor of the Bank of England said the UK couldn't really afford to borrow a lot more to pay for further fiscal stimulus. And
They're all arguing
heated exchange
like headless chickens.
said, I think the fiscal position in the UK is not one where we could engage in another significant round of fiscal expansion.
Headless chicken.
The question to the Leader of the House today is whether she agrees with the Governor of the Bank of England.
Give us a job.
The budget will be on April the 22nd.
The day after the 21st.
And the Governor of the Bank of England agreed with us.
Yeah, really?
When he said that our
No, he doesn't.
stimulus was perfectly
No, I
reasonable
prefer,
and
folks.
appropriate.
Shut the fuck up.
In the city, many experts agree with the Bank of England, though some feel there may be scope for a bit of a fiscal boost.
Oh, a little bit of this and a little bit of
There are
that.
countries in the world that could engage in a fiscal stimulus now.
Nah, let's hurry up and see Ukraine go bankrupt, followed by Latvia and Hungary and Bulgaria and Romania and Germany and Italy.